What theory do you 100% believe in without having any evidence? 100% believe that BuzzFeed quizzes that are like tell us your Wendy's order and we'll tell you how old you are, or how many foods on this list have you heard of. Collect data for those companies and they use it to see what their most popular items are and then in turn use that data in their marketing/advertising. They are just so pointless, yet so specific, that I can't imagine it doesn't have an underlying purpose. Most of those quiz things are indeed data mining operations. Interactive market research comes in many wrappers. Completely unrelated to the topic, do you prefer the Big Mac or spicy McNuggets? Pressing the button harder makes the attack stronger. This is me mashing the phone during Pokemon raids. Earthquake. So that's where the scratches come from. I thought it's just the game somehow breaking displays. That all mattress stores are fronts for illegal businesses. There are thousands of them, and they are always empty, dang it. A lot of laundering places use a mattress store as cover, but I feel like at least some are legit. I thought the same thing. I've seen 2 mattress firm stores like 2 blocks away from each other. Where are all the people buying mattresses to keep them in business? There's intelligent life elsewhere in the universe. I believe that too. Balance of probability, isn't it? There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth. A great number of those stars have planets orbiting them, and one planet in the lot of them has life. No way. Everyone has at least one stupid talent that they usually don't realize. Picking the best watermelon at the store. Being able to make your tea perfect every time. Being able to put together your IKEA furniture the right way, effortless. Winning skee ball. Mine is always being able to pick avocados that will be ripe exactly when I want to eat them. I can estimate distances with uncanny accuracy just by looking at them, but I was a distance runner for years. Username checks out. If I ever switch lines at checkout, the new line I enter will have one of 3 things happen. 1. A customer has a return for which the cashier will need to refer to the store manager. 2. A customer will ask about a deal being offered in a local ad, followed up by several more questions regarding where those items are located, when will the coupon be offered again, etc. 3. An item they are purchasing won't have a tag or the barcode can't be read and will necessitate an employee grabbing a duplicate item to scan instead. This is my life. Also, if I ever switch lines and sat at the airport, one of 3 things will occur. 1. The person in front of me has a full bottle of water and stops to drink the whole thing. 2. An elderly person can't figure out why he keeps getting flagged for things in all of his pockets. 3. The security guy will have to stop the whole line to study a bag on the X-ray machine. Different alcohols make you a different wasted. I don't care what they say, that crap is 1000% spot on. I think so too. Wine is the only alcohol that when wasted makes me sleepy. Crosswalk buttons don't actually work, they're just there to make you feel better. I think there are many cases of this, but I know a few intersections that, if you don't press the button when the lights change, they don't let you cross. Pressing it doesn't speed up when you get to cross, but it will delay the traffic lights when they turn. It just gives you the walking man symbol instead of the red hand. At least the ones I've encountered, and I've walked a lot of intersections. When Wi-Fi started becoming popular, cable companies stopped working to increase stability and speeds for broadband internet. Just tell the customer it's probably a problem with their router. You must be an AT customer or Comcast customer. Is there any other kind of person with internet? Rocks are soft until you touch them. Can confirm. Source: my sister is dating a rock. Whoa, you know Dwayne Johnson? That's badass. Dogs are scared of vacuums because they cause an existential crisis. They see their fur and scent being removed by the vacuum, and thus they are terrified about the vacuum removing them too. I think it's more that dogs have good hearing and vacuums are loud AF, but I like your thought process more. This, combined with, in their eyes, uncontrollable movement, it is quite a scary monster. Some dogs are less sound sensitive and don't mind. Most of them can't bear the loudness. That I had coronavirus in January. This was in New York City. I think I had it January 2020, but we just didn't know what it was. At the time I worked in a store that was a hotspot for Chinese tourists. I had a horrible cough, problems breathing, chest pain and felt real out of it. Same. I live in a town with a university that has a lot of Chinese kids. Shortly after they came back from Christmas break, a really bad flu started going around. I was bedridden for about 3 days. Still pretty sure it was COVID. At least one celebrity or public figure didn't actually die, they were just rich enough to nope out of having to do that crap for the rest of their life and chose to basically live normal life under a new identity, like they were in witness protection. Way too many celebrities seem to die at exactly 50. There's a famous Brazilian singer named Belchior who did pretty much that. He was found like 2 years later in Argentina, I think. He eventually really died. Or did he? The universe is a higher entity itself, and we are just a tiny part of it. OMG, thank you so much for the silver. I was just here stating my honest beliefs, and you guys have been so kind and civil. I'll remember this forever. We are like the gut bacteria of the universe, more like we are part of its consciousness. We're it trying to figure itself out and experience things. If I keep eating dairy, which I'm allergic to, I won't become fully lactose intolerant. I'm trying to reverse my mild lactose intolerance by slowly upping my dairy intake. I'm just trying to weaponize my colon. But this does seem like an interesting idea. As a bonus, the mild discomfort makes for easy weight loss, as I no longer wish to eat and feel full for the rest of the day. Granted, there are negatives too. I believe that Trump's claim that the election was rigged and that he had proof is 100% true, only not in the way he wants you to believe. I'm 100% positive, although I have no proof, that Trump committed election fraud to increase his chances of winning, and he still lost. Trump has proof there was election fraud because he was the one who committed it, and the reason we'll never see that proof is because it would incriminate him. My husband has been saying this for months. It is consistent with him doing the things he accuses his opponents of, putting people like Louis DeJoy in place to run the USPS during a pandemic to stifle mail-in voting is a surefire way to execute voter fraud. Whenever you do a capture, you're training AI for self-driving cars. Why else would it only ask for pictures, cars and traffic lights and crosswalks and stuff? This has been proven true. When you do a Google capture, you are helping train their AI system. Yep. It gives you a couple it knows are correct, and a few it's not sure about, and if you answer correctly on the ones it does know, it assumes you answered the ones it doesn't know correctly as well, thus increasing its own accuracy. This was exploited by 4chan back in the day, when they learned that the 2-word capture was easy to figure out which word was the one that was known by the program, and which one wasn't. So they inputted the correct word correctly and made the unknown one the N-word, no matter what the word actually was, causing it to show up in random digital documents where it had absolutely no place. The government listens to the phone calls and texts of private citizens. Doesn't matter where you live, all governments do this. There is, in fact, insurmountable and blatant evidence of this. It's not a theory, it's just a fact. There is no such thing as privacy in our current iteration of the digital future. There are steps you can take to mitigate it. Hell, depending on your determination, there are ways to nearly eliminate it. But to some degree, you are known as data to the powers that be. First thing to do is live like it is 1983, i.e. goodbye internet and cell phone. Coke changing to the bad new Coke on purpose to cover the fact that they swapped sugar for high fructose corn syrup when they then went to Coke Classic. I've bought the Mexican Coke in the glass bottles with real sugar and it's way better. There's also the urban legend that Coca-Cola was losing market share to Pepsi due to the 1980s Pepsi challenge. Coke had to pivot and released the new formula, and so many Coke devotees had such a visceral reaction to losing what we now know as Classic. They had a release and regained their market share over Pepsi. Hot dog and hot dog bun makers are in cahoots. 10 hot dogs, only 8 buns. Coincidence? I think not. I actually learned about this in a marketing class. 100% not a coincidence. They want you to buy more. Spamming the A button on the DS made the Pokemon easier to catch. It's down plus BU animals. Reddit intentionally makes their mobile website a little bit worse every few months in order to drive people to use the app. The app allows Reddit to collect more user data, increasing ad sales. No, I don't have any evidence to support this accusation, but how else do you explain why the mobile website is such garbage? I agree 100%. I only downloaded the app because the mobile site became so unusable. It would cut off comments after a certain amount and block subreddits and posts that were NSFW. It became so annoying I downloaded the app. Multiverse theory. Total speculation but very attractive to me. Basically the idea that in the multiverse, every possibility in every moment has a separate universe with its own timeline branching off from it. Ever flipped heads or tails to settle a dispute? Well, if you flipped heads, there's an alternate universe that you can't perceive in which you flipped tails. And that universe plays out on into infinity. There's a separate you living that timeline. And they can't perceive your timeline either. I like to believe that our universe is an infinitely complex tree of timelines and possibilities stemming from the moment of the Big Bang. No evidence. Pure speculation. But it's beautiful to imagine, and I can't see why it wouldn't be real. My head hurts more the more I imagine multiverse theory. I took the idea to mean that the differences in each universe must be all the way down to the most macro level. So instead of a universe where I'm black-haired as opposed to red-headed, which is rather macro, there must be a universe that differs from my current one by only one tiny atomic, or smaller, difference. I imagine in my next universe there's a single particle on a single hair, which is minutely different to my current one. And in the next universe, the same particle is at a slightly different angle. And in the next universe it's in another slightly different universe. And there are a million universes in which the particle next to it is at a different angle. Christ almighty, that's already enough to try and visualize. When I think about other people's multiverses I just blue screen and go for a nap. Yes, there'd essentially be an infinite number of universes where everything is apparently the same, but a single particle might differ. On the flip side, there'd also be an infinite number of universes where everything was different. The Loch Ness Monster may have been mostly debunked, but for some reason I truly believe that motherfricker exists somewhere. Was watching a show about Nessie, and one theory is that there is some sort of parallel time/space anomaly in the lake that allows animals like Nessie to travel back and forth between their time and ours. Nuts. Megalodons are not extinct. I want to believe. If I believed megalodons still existed, I'd never go in the ocean. I'd never even go on a boat in the ocean. I might even stop taking a bath. That certain times in the distant past people were more technologically advanced than we currently think possible. I think the same in part. Not as in spaceships, or unlimited energy and other sick-fee fantasies, but more advanced than we give them credit for. Advanced by being truly ingenious when what they have. I mean Eratosthenes calculated the circumference of the earth with a margin of error of less than 1% using a dry well, a tall rock, an obelisk in Alexandria, and the sun. Keeping to Egypt, we built literal mountains, and we didn't use slave labor to do it. China had landmines and gunpowder weapons around a millennia before Europe, even though of using gunpowder to propel metal balls and replace the crossbow. Indonesians could find lone islands using their hands, the sky, and feeling currents. And we use GPS today and still get lost. I actually thought of that when originally replying. There's all kinds of stuff that doesn't line up with our current time frames for when peoples migrated from places and them understanding things, especially the night sky, that boggles the mind. I think they knew more than we give credit. I think we've made advancements then got knocked back into the Middle Ages multiple times. Just BC they didn't leave behind plastics or something doesn't mean they didn't have deep understandings about things we wouldn't believe. People's happiness is 90% genetic. I've known too many people living comfortable lives who were miserable, and too many people living miserable lives who were happy. I think a lot of it is how you grow up. If your parents are miserable and stressed all the time, you will invariably pick up those traits, and no matter how comfortable a life you lead, there'll always be something that'll make you stressed/unhappy. It'll be irrational, but it'll be there. Agreed. Happiness is a hormonally learned skill, and learning is a biological process. I think we can eventually, probably, get nature and nurture sorted out. How we pass generations, though, is balked. Smarter is happier, happier is smarter. There is great power in babies and teenagers because, hormones. We should treat them better. Charles Penans did not write A Christmas Carol. I've read other Penans works too. A Christmas Carol is entertaining and unique, even fun, in a way that no other Penans work is. It's simply not his doing. I don't know if this helps or hinders your theory, but the Morgan Library owns the original manuscript for A Christmas Carol, and it is word for word what was published, written out longhand. Few if any edits were made. Clearly stolen from some poor chap and copied then. Banks/hedge funds/large corporations confer on mass market manipulation schemes in order to make massive gains, and our politicians are complicit. They are not just complicit, they are on the payroll from them. Reflexology. It doesn't make a lick of sense as far as we know, but I'm a massage therapist with around 30k client hours over the last 30 years, and it's hard to deny the efficacy. I've had literally thousands of people say stuff like, why does my stomach feel better, or oh my lower back relaxed, without knowing I was working the corresponding area. I like to know the math behind things before I use them. Reflexology is a rare exception. Let the downvotes commence. Zinc throat lozenges as a viral prophylactic. The best comments in this thread are those from people that have made observations they can't fully back evidentially, but understand it to be true. I appreciate your comment. Flat earthers do not actually believe the earth is flat. They are just trolling people or want some kind of attention. Hate to break it to ya mate, but a lot of humans are idiots who will make up stuff to feel special and different from the rest of us. Flat earthers basically want to feel like they're the main characters in some cosmic movie. I kinda feel bad for them. Carol Baskin's husband was going to fake his own death and live in Costa Rica with his girlfriend while his secretary wired him the last of his money. That's why his will was so strange. In the event for my death or disappearance etc. The secretary kept her mouth shut because she already took her cut and would risk losing it if she went to the cops. Carol likely knew of this plan, and that's why she froze the secretary out of everything and physically locked her out. From there anything could have happened. Either his plane crashed, or he mad off the CD characters, likely because he didn't have the money he may have promised them, or his girlfriend or her family did the deed. I don't think she's a pure angel that's innocent of everything, but her husband was way too shady and narcissistic to be ignored, and it lines up perfectly with his character that he would try that instead of losing his money in another expensive divorce. When they hire a voice actor to recreate a popular character for a video game /toy /cartoon /etc, they try to avoid having a voice actor sound exactly like the original actor to avoid claims that the original actor's voice was reused without permission. This one is false. The law for appropriation of name or likeness covers variations. Magic is real, just not the way we think of it. I 100% stand by the idea that by most definitions electricity is magic. I think it was Thor in the MCU that said magic is just science we don't understand yet. It's not just Thor. I can't remember who said it, but someone once said any sufficiently advanced technology looks like magic. The rich and powerful love golf because the hundreds of yards of a course are perfect to discuss and arrange secret deals out in the open without arousing suspicion or anyone nearby to eavesdrop. Plot twist: the rich and powerful love golf because the hundreds of yards of a course are perfect to discuss random banal crap like, would you rather have peens for hands or vags for ears, without having to maintain the professional /serious image that they have to maintain the rest of their lives whilst they're in the spotlight. That and no one is listening, so you can discuss insanely illegal crap. That's why all the business happens on the green. Or whatever that saying is. That all the famous flat earthers are actually in the pay of NASA. Nobody talks about NASA more than the flirters. That guy who died in a rocket crash a while back turned out not to be a flat earther, just a guy who really liked rockets conning flat earthers into paying for his hobby. Yes, that turned out to be quite sad. Eccentric guy wants to fly steam-powered rocket to prove Earth is flat. Haha, idiot. Eccentric guy just wants to fly a steam-powered rocket. Haha, cool. I believe somewhere under the water there's a massive holdover dinosaur that's been breeding and surviving without needing to come to the surface very often, if at all. I mean, if sharks and crocodiles / alligators made it, and giant squids are a thing, I wouldn't be surprised at all. The things in the ocean are more likely to take over the earth than aliens. Not if we hunt them to extinction first. Consciousness doesn't need a body to maintain integrity. Can you elaborate, please? I'm intrigued. I think I've heard this before. Either it's another way of saying he believes in ghosts. Of another thing I heard is some people believe life can exist entirely as electrical impulses. This is because your consciousness in your head is just electrical pulses bouncing around in your brain. So the idea is that a conscious wouldn't technically need a brain to hold it. IDK what, but I fully believe Disney is up to some shady business and the government is either supporting them or can't stop them. I find it terrifying that a single company controls so much entertainment media. A business which has a lot of influence over the general public seems to be flying under the radar. Or they can just afford to buy everything, considering all of their films make around $1 billion consistently. The Mandela effect. There are some pretty messed up ones out there that my brain won't allow me to think are real. Like a recent one where orcas have a grey mark on their back. That crap was not there last month. Google orcas. Every picture has that grey mark. WTF. Seems more like the kind of thing that no one notices, but once you see it, it can't be unseen. If you look into it a little more, there's for sure some things that are very odd about it, including the namesake. A lot of people vividly remember news reports of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. However, by official record he actually died in 2013 after having served as president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. Plants have their own form of consciousness, but it's so different from ours that it's impossible for us to understand or even detect. That there are multiple timelines that flow like streams of water that cross every once in a while, hence why we have phenomena such as déjà vu, memories of events that have happened to us, but not in our reality, or dreams that feel way too real. Souls of people are reincarnated into new timelines that they fit into, going through very similar lives as they have lived with minor differences, which also cause the above phenomena. There is a nexus point in which connects timelines to others and to other planes of existence is somewhere here on Earth. The nexus may be in Area 51 or the Mariana Trench. We know where déjà vu comes from, though. It's a kink in the memory processing part of the brain. It takes a short-term memory and sticks it in long-term memory by accident. So when we replay it in our head, it's essentially in the wrong folder and the event feels like the past, but we know it just happened. A guy named Stanley Meyer had invented a car that ran on water. This could be very useful for a lot of reasons. But he died after eating at a restaurant yelling, "They poisoned me." The theory is that people from the oil industry had poisoned him. This is because the oil industry makes trillions every year, and this could have them lose a lot of money. The people he was meeting with also stole his water running car, which is also a big red flag. IDK, this kind of stuff makes sense to me. The HHO engine design is high maintenance, even if it allows for multiple fuel sources. It's not very energy positive, so it's not as great an idea as it sounds. It is consistently worthwhile to try and be a good, or even better, person each day. Jar Jar was a Sith Lord the entire time. Michael Jordan didn't retire from the NBA to go play baseball. He was suspended for gambling, and it was a mutual agreement so everyone could save face. NBA would never willingly turn down the money the MJ brought the league though. He was the face of the league. There's no way they would have not only been willing to lose out on money, but the international recognition Michael brought to the NBA. He's a big reason US basketball became popular internationally, maybe the biggest. Plus, according to Michael at least, his dad had told him that if he wanted to play baseball he should, right before he died. He was also Michael's old baseball coach. Plus MJ is probably the most competitive athlete of all time. It's not a stretch for me to think he wanted to see how he'd do starting at the bottom of the totem pole at another sport. One of the great filters of the Fermi paradox is that life needs to evolve for immediate needs, but intelligent life needs to see things that will affect them far into the future, or they end up destroying themselves. Things like global warming, unrelenting resource consumption, and pushing off problems for later generations to deal with our symptoms of not being able to assess risk/reward as a species beyond the immediate needs of now. We are just cells living inside a larger organism that we'll never understand.